Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, we'll talk about the Kevin Durant and what's going on with him, this trade, the owner. Like, there's once in every blue moon that an owner puts their foot in their mouth, and I think the Nets owner did that. We'll talk about that, the biggest what ifs in Chicago Bulls history, and get into a voicemail left from a good listener. We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls. Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central. And, the Nets owner Joe Tsai, with one tweet, maybe had shot Kevin Durant's trade value a little bit in the foot. After apparently a meeting in which Kevin Durant reiterated it's either him or the front office, the owner tweeted this: "Our front office and coaching staff have my support. We will make the decisions in the best interest of the Brooklyn Nets." Yeah, bro. So what do you think this affect? Because the Rudy Gobert trade, as you pointed out, completely blew up the market, right? If Rudy Gobert netted you 3 unprotected first-round picks and an additional protected first-round pick, at that point, the Kevin Durant trade, it got to be more than that. Yeah. Now, with everything the way that it has shaken out after this meeting, the fact that it's so public, Kevin Durant, telling him it's either him or it's the front office, and Sean Marks and Steve Nash, basically he wants both of them to go. Seems like Joe Tsai is betting on his front office and his coach. Does that affect Kevin Durant's trade value? And then we'll build off that and talk about teams that are in the running and how this could affect the Eastern Conference if he goes to some of the teams that seem like the front runner for Kevin Durant. But go ahead, Pat.
I don't think it affects his trade value because you're still going to have a bidding war for Kevin Durant. It's still Kevin Durant. He's still one of the best players in the world. He's still one of the best players in NBA history. What it does is, to me, right, like, while I will say the Brooklyn Nets have been at fault in a lot of situations in this entire saga of KD, Kyrie, this is one that I don't put on Joe Tsai. Kevin Durant basically told you, fire everybody in the building or you keep me. And if you have belief that the group that got you, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, got rid of James Harden, brought back TJ Warren, who could be something, we don't know about that yet, and also fleeced the Philadelphia 76ers in that deal. If you have a belief that they can continue to do that, you side with them. I get, right, like, the players make the plays, and they're going to be the ones on the court that actually affect winning, and it'd be much better to have a guy like a Kevin Durant. But if you believe that these guys can build that organization up again without Kevin Durant being there, and you're going to give them every avenue to do that, more power to Joe Tsai. It's been a very rare situation where I've been like, the Brooklyn Nets did the right thing here. But, I mean, you think
how much of that was old ownership, though? Because that last ownership group, they just, yeah. But
yeah, true.
The way that I look at it is this, right? Is that this is, and me and you actually, I think, talked about this, is that at some point it was going to happen. There was going to be an ownership that fought back against the player empowerment movement, and Joe Tsai is the first one to publicly do that. Now, what that happens, what does that do with Kevin Durant's trade value? Because now it kind of is this thing where you almost can't go into training camp with Kevin Durant there because, you know, of everything, you want a new energy. If you're going to do this rebuild, I think you want to go ahead and get it done. It's not like there haven't been teams preparing their packages for the last 2 months for this trade. You pretty much know what's out there. But yeah, this is going to happen. And then when you get the NBA commissioner and Adam Silver even saying that they're going to look at it and see what they can do about players requesting trades early into extensions and contracts. Listen, this is a first step. And don't be surprised, the CBA is coming up again. There's going to be a new collective bargaining agreement. That there may be something in this. We may start seeing reverse trade kickers. Whereas, you know, trade kickers now, you get traded you get a boost up in contract sometimes. Maybe it's this, hey, if you demand a trade within 2 years of your contract, your salary goes down.
There's going to be something.
There's going to be something, yeah.
And the players are going to fight against it. We're probably heading towards another lockout. But, like, there's going to be something that comes into play, in my opinion, because there's too many players that just in the middle of a deal say, I want out. And I'm fine with you, right? Like being able to do what you want to do, being able to make the moves that you want to make and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, right, like the owners have realized again, while yes, we do need you to be great, we pay you.
Yeah. And good money.
You make millions because we give you them.
Yes.
And Joe Tsademi is the first of many, right, that I think are going to make this stand. There's going to be, and here's the thing, right? This wasn't, there was a time where back in the day, especially like 90s, early 2000s, stuff like that, where like if you requested a trade and they said no, they just said no.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy there. Well, your numbers took a dip then. Like
Exactly.
there's some players that legit weren't happy, and you'd see a random season where it was like, oh yeah, he averaged he went from averaging 22 points a game to 16.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
it's like, what happened? Hey, listen, I just wanted to get up out of there. But yeah, so and the thing that's we'll continue to monitor how this goes if other owners do this, because you're going to get more trade demands over the course of the season. Like this is just really interesting time period to see how that dynamics. We've been in the player empowerment movement now for, what do you think, about 5 or 6 seasons? It's been slowly growing and growing and growing and getting stronger. And we may start seeing that reel back a little bit in ownership fight against it. Now, before we get off this topic, so it seems like Kevin Durant's preferred trade destination is still the Phoenix Suns, which is unlikely because of the DeAndre Ayton, signing and half base, all that. But it seems right now, Shams Charania has reported that there are 3 main teams that are the front runners to land Kevin Durant. It's the Toronto Raptors, the Boston Celtics, and Miami Heat. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this, all 3 of those teams in the Eastern Conference, so it'll definitely affect the Eastern Conference playoff race. Which one of those teams do you think can put together the best package? And which team let's flip this. Would you hate to see Kevin Durant go to because you think he's going to make things way too difficult in the Eastern Conference?
The best package is technically you would say the Boston Celtics, right? Because they would send back something that involves Jaylen Brown. Mm-hmm. But the best future package probably would be the Toronto Raptors, right? I mean, you're talking about a completely, at a minimum, right? You're sending me Siakam. You're sending me Scotty Barnes. You're sending me OG Anunoby.
Well, it was said that the Toronto has refused to put Scotty Barnes on the table in any Durant talks.
Then you ain't in the talks. Hey, listen.
So wait, OG, Gary Trent Jr., Pascal Siakam isn't doing anything for you.
Conversation starts with Scotty Barnes. If Scotty Barnes ain't in the deal, you get the all right.
You know what? A Scotty Barnes,
talking to you. Get up.
Ben Simmons is not a bad 1-2. If you can get Ben Simmons back right mentally to be ready to, that's not a bad thing to start off your new rebuild with. But go ahead, continue. I'm sorry, I stepped on your point.
That's where it starts for me. The team that I think would cause the most havoc on the Eastern Conference would be the Boston Celtics, because Kevin Durant plays off of other people being successful so well, right? Like you look at what he did with Golden State. In Golden State, they were a team that had just won 73 games. They were rolling. They had beaten Kevin Durant in the playoffs. And Kevin Durant got added into that, and you would think, oh, Kevin Durant's going to take the lion's share of the shots, but he didn't. Stephen Curry's game didn't change. Klay Thompson's game didn't change. Kevin Durant just showed up and was like, yeah, y'all keep doing what y'all doing, and I'm
going to fit in. And that's the thing that's crazy about the way that Kevin Durant, I think sometimes we forget just how versatile of a player Kevin Durant is.
Yeah.
He can literally play next to anyone, and because he can do so much on the court, especially scoring wise, that offensively he can match it. It doesn't matter who you put him out there with. So Boston's rumored package right now is Jaylen Brown, Derek Wright, and picks. Brooklyn reportedly wants Marcus Smart included as well, and maybe more picks. Now, if that is the framework of the deal, let's just say for it's Jaylen Brown, Derek Wright, and Marcus Smart. Let's just say all those players are involved in it. Boston would then still at that point have Malcolm Brogdon, who they just traded for this season. Jason Tatum. They would still have Time Lord. They would still then have Kevin Durant. That is a scary team. And then you got to think of course, this offseason is already passed, but the next offseason, how many players are going to be willing to take the vet minimum just to go play with that team?
Well,
And Al Horford would still be there at that point as well. Al Horford's not included in that deal.
I think the part that you wonder about is how's the defense going to take a hit on that team.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said Malcolm Brogdon's a clamp out here.
This is true.
And Kevin Durant's an okay defender, but Kevin Durant can get gotten past, I guess is the right way to say it. Like it's not like we haven't seen him getting broken down in his career. Your best defender then becomes what? Time Lord and Tatum?
Yeah.
You better draw up a heck of a scheme. Or outscore everybody.
Yeah, or hey, we putting up 125 every night.
Right. Yeah, I mean with Malcolm Brogdon and Tatum and Durant, or outscore everybody. So like there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's gonna get interesting. I agree with you. The Boston Celtics can put together the best package. I think, especially if they come off some of those picks and are willing to come off some of those to win. Now I know Boston is.
Here's the caveat: the team he would win with is Miami.
Yes, but that's also the team that has the only thing that they can offer is Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson as far as players. That's it.
Well, again, the conversation starts at Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, exactly. So
the conversation starts with Bam Adebayo.
But there's a reason they can't offer Bam. There's something in the CBA, a reason why they can't. I can't remember what it is, but there's a reason why Bam can't be involved in that deal.
I remember hearing it, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. So they can't include Bam. So that don't get me wrong. I agree. You pair up Jimmy Butler with Kevin Durant. I almost don't care what else is. Those two are going to find a way to get it done.
They'll win because Jimmy don't got to score no more. You tell me Jimmy can go back to being the dude that was averaging like 18 to 20 a game, but all I got to do is focus on stopping you. That's scary.
Yeah. But so we'll see how it goes. This really could change the dynamic of the Eastern Conference. And I'm going to say right now, I'm calling it. I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm calling it just because I've been doing on this thing the rest of the offseason of calling things. Within 2 weeks, 14 days, Kevin Durant will no longer be a Brooklyn Net.
Wide range there, brother. Really?
Hey, listen. I'm
calling it between 175 hours.
Yeah. Listen. And don't
want to narrow that down.
You know what? With our luck, no. You know what happened with our luck? As soon as we get done recording and the episode's uploading, Kevin Durant has been traded to the Boston Celtics.
Well, this is an interesting episode.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get into that next. We're gonna get into our second topic for today, which we're gonna be playing What If, and I have some things that I'm gonna throw at Pat the designer that he doesn't quite know about yet. What I'm gonna throw at him. But first, before we do that, I got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is Built Bar. If you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you're depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what? There's a new flavor. Are you ready for it? Delicious, indulgent cookie dough. Covered in chocolate. That's right. Built has done it again. Let me introduce you to your new favorite cookie dough chunk puffs. Have a light and chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks, and of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's healthy for you. Cookie dough puffs only have 160 calories and a whopping 15 grams of protein. Run to Built.com right now to snack a box for you and the family. It'll be the perfect treat, or you can find a really good hiding place and hoard them all for yourself, like my son tried to do. Shout out to my 16-year-old son who tried to hide all my Built Bar puffs. Like all Built Bars, new cookie dough puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means they're healthy and tasty. Chocolate-covered cookie dough with a light, fluffy texture. So good. What's great about Built is that all their bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides a ton of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. You're going to love the new cookie dough puffs, whether you need a snack after a workout, a late night treat, or just grab a quick bite. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order at Built.com.
Hey, man.
Yeah. All right. So
it's like the Gucci Mane of protein bars. They're dropping a new flavor every week.
Absolutely. That's all the time. Every time they change the ad read to a new flavor, I'm like, oh, well, I'll be looking out for that in my mail. Exactly. But so I devised this game, and this I'm not gonna lie to you. This is from a voicemail I got over on Chicago Bulls Central, but I figured I'm gonna bring it over here. What do you think is the bigger what if for Chicago Bulls history? And I'm gonna lay this completely out. We'll let you know. Had the Bulls kept LaMarcus Aldridge instead of trading him for Tyrese Thomas, and what that could have meant for that team, Does that affect us getting Derrick Rose? Both of these are kind of long-term things. So don't think of it just within the deal itself. Think about what it could have affected following that. So that could have affected the Chicago Bulls getting Derrick Rose. Or do you think the biggest what if is if the Chicago Bulls did not win that coin toss with the Sacramento Kings, in which the Kings ended up then getting the second overall pick, the Bulls would have then had the chance in 2018 to draft Luka Doncic. Reportedly, they were high on Trae Young, so maybe Trae Young there. But
real high.
Real high. Had the Bulls lost that coin toss and got the second overall pick, would that have meant that Garpax, would that team have then been good enough that Garpax would have still been in power for a number of years and we would not have AK and Eversley in here? What do you think is the biggest what if in Chicago Bulls history?
Probably the Luka one, because that is the LaMarcus Aldridge one doesn't change anything to me, because I mean, like, LaMarcus Aldridge was this great player offensively. That you would have paired with Derrick Rose, and that would have been crazy. And I do think you still get Derrick Rose in that. We had a lot of wins that year that we got Derrick Rose. So LaMarcus Aldridge by himself is
true,
still
but we probably would have been a playoff team with LaMarcus Aldridge, though. That's the thing. Then we wouldn't have got Derrick Rose, because as you said, we already got a lot of wins without LaMarcus Aldridge. You add LaMarcus to that team probably gets enough wins to be a playoff team, and then we don't get Derrick Rose.
Yeah, but LaMarcus would have came. We wouldn't have had LaMarcus would have came in what year? 2006.
Yes, I think that is correct.
So
2005 or 2006. So that, again, you're basically just replacing Tyrese. So yeah, it was 2006, that draft. So that would have been after. That's the year that in the playoffs we swept the Miami Heat.
Yeah, so you got your superstar of the future in that sense. I think you would have gone down a similar path just with LaMarcus Aldridge, basically, right? Like, I think you would have been able to. Pax would have been able to. I want to make sure I differentiate this. Pax would have been able to build a good enough team that you could have put it around LaMarcus Aldridge and been a team that makes a deep playoff run.
But that's the thing. Then you don't get Derrick Rose. So
I mean, okay. I feel like you end up in the same spot. I don't think you win a championship, but I think Pax could have put a team around LaMarcus Aldridge that could have made it to an ECF. Especially in a league where that was big man dominated at that point. Right? So I think you kind of end up in the same path to that. Like, okay, we don't end up with Derrick Rose, which I guess for Chicago is like, dang, we didn't get our Chicago kid. But like, also, we got LaMarcus Aldridge, and he was really freaking good. LaMarcus Aldridge at one point was like, wasn't he like 25 and 11?
LaMarcus Aldridge had a damn good career. So yeah, I don't remember what his heights were, but yeah, at one point in time, he had a damn good career.
I mean, so like, okay, like I got a big man that's 25 and 11. I figure it out from there. I'm not tripping on that one way or the other. I think the Luka thing, if you go with Luka, right? They probably would have gone with Trae, but if you go with Luka, changes your entire. Actually, they might have gone with Luka because Pax was big on going to get the guys overseas. We got a couple of guys, Mirotic, Markin, and all those guys, right? But I think that changes your franchise more because you would have got a legitimate superstar that could have led you into the next iteration. And I don't think it stops anything as far as Gar getting fired, because Gar was making a lot of stupid decisions.
Bro, I got to stop you there. Because keep in mind, the only reason John Paxson and Gar Forman got out of power is because John Paxson had to go to ownership and be like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. So you guys probably need to go in a different direction. If the Bulls draft Luka Doncic, keep in mind, we had Zach LaVine, we had Laurier already at that point. That's a good enough team that I think Paxson is still in power for another 5 to 8 years.
But see, Paxson, I don't mind. Paxson built good basketball teams.
This is true. The things did go downhill after Gar.
When Gar Forman took over, Gar Forman couldn't build good basketball teams. Gar Forman thought Marcus Teague was a smart decision. Gar Forman thought Paul Zipser was the move. You know what I mean? He looked Paul Zipser in the eye and was like, that's a player. Didn't we look it up? Ain't Paul Zipser cooking overseas? Actually?
Yeah, he's cooking right now overseas. Paul Zipser is a player, just not here in the States.
A player, yeah. He's cooking something. He's making dinner. But
which Paul Zipser is only 28 years old. That's crazy.
It was crazy when you saw that. But I just feel like, right, like Pax kind of still would have. Maybe Gar's still there, But I think at that point, maybe Pax gets more, because Pax kind of was getting more involved at the end because he was like, "Good Lord, every time you speak,
Well, yeah, he took over
somebody
because
wants to
remember
riot."
it was that Gar Forman. They had to stop putting Gar Forman out in press conferences because
Oh
he
my
realized,
God.
like, hey man, listen, talking is not your strong suit, so don't even worry, don't even show up, don't even worry about it. But yeah. So okay, so if let's just say Paxton Gar, and then Jim Boylan's probably still the coach for quite a bit longer. I think Luka eventually gets him up out of there.
I think he was so bad that would have took his course anyway. That was a Foreman hire.
But keep in mind, though, again, ownership tried to convince AK and Eversley to keep Boylan on. Remember, they tried to get them to keep that. So like I said, I don't think he's like staying for 10 years or anything, but I do think we get another 3 years of Jim Boylan at that point. That's just an interesting thing to just think about how that changes history.
That was 2 years ago,
bro.
We were bad. They just left. Like, it hasn't been that long, bro. Like, it's crazy to think about, right? Like,
oh man,
because I forgot about the fact that they were just like, no, like Jim Boylan's a good guy.
Exactly.
He's a what? You mean a dude that stabbed the coach in front of him in the back so that he could get the head coaching job?
Bro.
Hey, have fun on NBA TV.
So okay, here's the thing: which what if do you think would net the Bulls a championship more? Do you think the Bulls getting that second overall pick, getting Luka? Because in this instance, we're just saying they drafted Luka, right? Yeah. Because hindsight, right? They probably would have drafted Trae Young. Getting Trae or getting LaMarcus Aldridge, which one do you think would have gotten the Bulls closer to a title in their run?
Luka, because LA, while he was great, he was dominant. There were a ton of big men around him that were also dominant that could have negated how dominant he could have been, right? And he'd have been in the Eastern Conference. You're talking about playing Dwight Howard 3 times a year, talking about playing Kevin Garnett at that point in the Eastern Conference. What he come 2 years later, basically 08, 07, 1 year later. Like there was much more big man competition in the Eastern Conference at that point. Now you're talking about having Luka Doncic in multiple seasons in an Eastern Conference that, not to say is top heavy, but there's seasons where Luka got knocked out of the playoffs early in his career. Mm-hmm. He probably would have made it further in the East.
See, this is where we need the Doctor Strange thing to go to a different multiverse. And I guarantee you, had the Bulls got the second overall pick, watch them do something silly and like still draft Wendell Carter at number 2 overall. And it's just like, hey man, this whole conversation was for nothing.
Michael Porter was right there, bro. I know it's a lot of people now that he having back injuries that they offer that. But bro, I'm always gonna swing on superstar potential. Michael Porter can score. Michael Porter, when he's healthy, is one of the best scorers in the NBA, and he ain't.
Bro, when he was there for the Bulls at 7. I literally, you couldn't convince me that they were. He wanted to be in Chicago. Do you remember that whole lead up to that draft? He was wearing Bulls jerseys. He was talking about Chicago. Michael Porter Jr. wanted to be a Chicago Bull,
bro,
badly.
Yes, bro. And I'm telling you, he's gonna come back. Like everybody's like, he's got this back injury. He's not gonna make it back. He's gonna come back just like Joel Embiid did. And we're going to be like, man, remember when we thought he wasn't going to come back? And now he's dropping 50 points a night on the league.
We'll see. I think that degenerative back thing is going to be something.
I don't think it'll be a long career.
Okay. You're saying he's going to shine brightly but shortly. Okay, I can agree with that.
Very, very Brandon Roy-like.
Okay, I can agree with that. All right, we're going to go ahead and move into the last topic for today. We'll get into your voicemail. Well, one voicemail in particular, only one. But I felt like I listened to this voicemail and I was like, you know what? This is good enough to where it's perfect to end the show and give us a conversation to have as we head out. So I'm going to go ahead and play that one now, brother. Let's go ahead and get that. Oh, wait a second. There we go.
Hey, what's up, Haize and Pat? This is JT from Chicago. And I'm a Bulls fan. I just had a couple things I wanted to run by y'all. I'm excited for the Bulls' upcoming season. So I know there's been a lot of talk about Patrick Williams and his development, what he could potentially be. I actually see a lot more in his game that could be tapped into, but I think that it has to be where Coach Billy Donovan basically makes the decision to run a bulk of the offense in him. I think that DeMar had an amazing season last year, but I think that he should take a step back. And I think if we want to see like the full potential of this team, obviously we want the Bulls to be healthy, and I think they will be. I think that the number one option should be between Zach offensively. I think you're going to have to rely on P. Will to be like number 2. And I think that they have to let DeMar be like 3 and third option, facilitate a little bit more. And then obviously if Lonzo is not ready to start the season, I say start Io, but do a bulk of the offense ran through P. Will. Because we see in the offseason his handle got a lot tighter at the Drew League. And I think that if we ran the offense through him more and just like put Zach in a situation where he doesn't have to be the ball handler, because I think that Zach is better just being a scorer, playing defense, and just being off the ball, and let Pat pretty much do most of the facilitating. Now, if Lonzo is there, I still think you should let Lonzo play the point guard, let Pat still do let P-Dub do a lot more of the facilitating as well. And then, let Nico do his thing. And then just, I think everything else will fall into place. Let me know what y'all think. DeMar be like.
All right. What do you think about that, bro? I disagree when I hear let DeMar be the third. Like, you don't want to.
Yeah, you can't let the dude that broke a Wilt Chamberlain record be your third option.
Exactly. And the way that I look at it is this: do we need to see Patrick Williams have an increased role in the offense? Absolutely. Right. We need to see him develop that skill. We need to see what he can do. I want to see him do a little bit more ball handling in the half court. Let players play off him again in doses. When the matchup calls for it, and maybe as a thing that you go to when it's like, hey, this team may be figuring out our offense a little bit. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to run everything through Patrick Williams the next 10 possessions and let you guys play off that. That's how I would want to see it. I wouldn't necessarily come into the season saying, hey, listen, Pat, you're about to be our second scoring option. That's not what I want to see, because, again, while we want to see Patrick Williams takes a bigger step in the offense, we got to stop thinking that just means scoring wise. By bigger part of the offense, it could be more facilitating, could be playing more point forward, could be cutting more to get some more easy buckets. But I'm not ready to say that. You have to see more from a player before you're ready to make them a focal point in the offense. But he does deserve to get more opportunity. What do you think, Pat?
I think I would give him more sets. We saw what he could do kind of at the end of that season when he is a focal point in the offense. But to me, I think for your team to take that next step, Patrick Williams does have to be a third option, kind of moving Vooch to your fourth option. But I wouldn't want to take shots away from guys that are already cooking at this point, right? Like if Patrick Williams demands the shots, like if he's playing so well that it's like we have to get this guy more shots, like he's taken a leap that we didn't expect, and now we're looking at him as one of the better young players in the league, then that's a completely different situation. But P. Will has to show me that. P. Will hasn't taken that step. There's nothing about his 9 points a game last season that tells me, hey, he's supposed to be getting second option shots. And it's no fault. It's no fault of his, right? Because he actually got hurt being more aggressive and missed a considerable amount of time. But when I look at Patrick's game, like it's like, okay, it's improving, it's moving in the right direction. But are you going to have the star power or the mindset or the whatever it is, right? That when the ball is in your hands to say, I'm going to kill this dude in front of me. Because Zach LaVine does that. DeMar DeRozan does that. Shoot, Vooch would do that. You throw it to him in the post.
Yeah. Even Lonzo would do that a little bit more than Patrick Williams at this point.
Listen.
A little bit. That's why I said a little bit.
Lonzo got 2 shots. The 3-pointer.
Oh, no, he has more than that. He just not used. Because, again, when DeMar and Zach were out, when they had to run things through Lonzo gave you 18, 8, and 6.
All from the 3, though. Remember when Lonzo...
No, that 4-game stretch, bro, he was breaking teams down.
Bro, he was getting to the bucket, and he was shooting threes. That man has no mid-range game.
Oh, you saying no mid-range?
It blows my mind.
I don't know if it's just not, maybe because he's younger. If he has that, because you keep in mind, coaches are now coaching players to, hey, it's 3-pointer or you get to the rim. Like, the way that Lonzo shoots, bro, he got to have a solid mid-ranger in there somewhere, bro. He got to.
Lonzo, I feel like the weird thing is Lonzo doesn't really have a float package either.
That's the thing. Now, that I will agree with. If Lonzo gets a better layup and floater package, bro, you're talking about a player at that point with his ability to put the ball on the ground. Like, and I know we're supposed to be talking about Patrick Williams, but like, I want to see Lonzo a little bit more unlocked as well. We'll talk about that at some point once we know if Lonzo's going to be playing or not. But with Patrick Williams,
it's not on the court.
Exactly. Just like I said when in your live stream, when you were like, I said you can't even pass Wiseman the ball right now because he's not on the court, much less.
Not on the court.
But yeah, man, it's really, when it's all said and done, when it comes to Patrick Williams and his development, it's half. I'm going to do 60-40. It's 60% on Patrick Williams to show he's going to be more aggressive with the opportunities that he gets, but it's still 40% on the coaching staff to put him in the best position and to use him in the correct way to unlock some of those skills that we rarely see from Patrick Williams. And that's it. So that's what I think on that.
Hey, I don't know. This was on November 26th, so still early in the year.
Yeah.
But Lonzo didn't play much after that. Lonzo was shooting 22% from the mid-range. This is a guy that was shooting 40% from everywhere from three. Just mid-range jumpers, he was shooting 22%. Lonzo's mid-range is crazy. No, the biggest thing for me with P. Will is force Billy Donovan's hand. Right? Like, if you're the best player on the team, Billy Donovan's going to give you the ball. Billy's looking for somebody that can put the ball in the bucket outside of Zach and Amar. He literally was just looking on the bench like, anybody? Anybody? Ayo, we love you. Like Kobe. It made shot, not this week. All right, cool. He'll get you the ball.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the Bulls' offensive system looks like this season, because I think we're going to see a lot more wrinkles, and I think we're going to see, I hope that we see it utilize the talent of the players a little bit better than what they did, especially towards the end of that last season. But yeah, man, we'll see. We're going to continue to monitor it right here on Locked On Bulls. This is what we do. We're going to give you everything, all your Bulls news every single day, because as a lot of the Locked On podcasts have gone to 3 days a week, guess who's here 5 days a week?
5 days a week, my
Locked On Bulls. But go ahead, Pat. Send us off, brother.
Bang, bang, bang. How do we not have a Chief Keef bang in this month?
I don't know. We have to get that on the soundboard.
You got to get that on the soundboard, bro. Yeah. I mean, come on now. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. Appreciate y'all for showing love, man. Bang.
You can follow me at CEO Haize, the CEO, Haize. And thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where the Locked On experts break down all the latest news, rumors, and developments going on in the NBA in 30 minutes less. They're available wherever you get your podcasts. But for Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls, and we out this mug. Peace, y'all.
Yes, they say about this Chicago.